You can't change your past, but you can change your future. There is no way to blame but your own failure but yourself. There is no excuse if you choose to not make a bad situation the key to your success. As a kid, my mom was my mother and my father because Dad wasn't in the picture. So my mother, my brother, and myself all moved around a lot, and we faced quite a bit of hardships. Unfortunately, amongst those hardships included molestation as well as domestic violence. For a straight year, my brother would have molested me in the dead of night, and there was nothing I could do about it. But I allowed it to go on for a straight year until I finally came clean to my mother and my therapist at the time. And unfortunately, to this day, I still can't remember all the memories. Perhaps it's a good thing, perhaps it's bad. But point is, I need other people to tell you the story, to tell you mine.
My name is Susan Ann Taylor, and I am your mother.
Alright, now, through my childhood, is there any distinct things that you remember that really kind of point out that have structured who I am and everything's kind of open right now?
Well, since you were little, you've always liked music. You've always liked to figure out how things are going and working. You spoke before your time, you crawled before your time, you flipped over before your time. You had one heck of a pair of lungs because you yelled when you really wanted something, but you were a very good baby. You slept very good, and you were kind of fun to play with.
Alright, now, as I progressed through what happened with Michael, the changes you saw in me, what were they?
You were very quiet. Just wanted to be left alone, kept to yourself. Kind of knew there was something wrong, but I couldn't really figure it out.
And as for before it happened, how was I before it happened?
You were a bubbly kid and liked to do a lot of things, and after it happened, you really didn't want to be bothered, and you were pretty much on your own, and I think that's how you really enjoyed starting to read a lot more, because instead of living your life, you lived the fantasy lives of your books.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why your books were always so important to you.
And as time went on and I went through my therapy, how did you see me change?
Well, when we first moved up here, you were very angry. You hated me. And I can understand why. But it took a long time before you actually started talking to me and I think forgiving me.
Now, looking at me now and looking at me from when it was happening, how much do you say has changed?
How has it affected you?
Yeah.
You don't trust very easily. You're very cautious around people and people that you love. You're very protective. And no problem with saying if something's wrong. But you also have your soft side for like kids that are like disabled or bullies or victims of bullying. Yeah.
Now, during my junior year, I started to develop what I wanted to do with my life. Without Hartford, do you think that would have been possible?
No. No, because you know what you want. You know what you like. You figured out what you wanted to do. And it's because, you went to the Harvard program and you figured out exactly what it is and if you like it and if you enjoy it.
Two follow-up questions. Do you from when the stuff with my brother happened and where I am now, do you think that without the therapy and without Hartford, I would be as calm and as collected, kind of? No?
No.
How come?
Because you learned how to talk in therapy. I think therapy, even though I had to make you go and you didn't want to do it, and I understand how much you didn't want to do it, but there's been so much changes in you. I'm proud of you. Yeah. You've done some amazing work.
Even in a bad situation, I tried to do my best and be happy when the opportunity arose. As I grew up, I started trouble with post-traumatic stress disorder, or PTSD. I was depressed and had occasional flashbacks of my brother molesting me. Bullying in junior high did not help my depression, but with the help of my friends, therapist, and my mom, I survived. As a junior, I entered a program called Design, Illustration, Media Arts, or DEMA, at the Hartford Area Career and Technology Center. And I met amazing classmates and an inspirational teacher who drove me to do my best and encouraged me to do things that made me happy. I joined Future Business Leaders of America, or FBLA, and Miss Valley nominated me for National Technical Honor Society, in which later on I became the president of. Alright, do you want to start by saying your name and
Sure.
who you are and
Sure.
what you do here?
I'm Felicia Allard, and I am a design and multimedia teacher at the Hartford Area Career and Technology Center.
Alright. And when you first met me as a junior, how did you perceive me?
How did I perceive you? I actually looked at you as someone who seemed really insightful, intelligent, maybe a little bit dark. Like I felt like maybe there was, just sort of an underlying tone of sort of, I don't want to say depression, but I definitely felt like you were sort of trying to find your way in life.
Yeah. Well, and when we first started our class and got to know each other, did your perception of me change at all?
I think I saw you evolve. So I definitely saw you become more engaged, more outgoing, excited, and goal-oriented, I would say.
For FBLA, which is Future Business Leaders of America, can you explain to me what that is and how we are involved?
Sure. So Future Business Leaders of America is our student organization that we're involved in. Not only my program, but also the other two programs in the business cluster.
And switching roles here into National Technical Honor Society,
Yeah.
you, as the teacher in our classroom, you nominate people that could be potential members.
Right.
What made you nominate me?
You were clear on your academics, your attendance, and your interest in the program. And your character was something that was awesome to see developing as the year went on. And you were ready for that kind of a challenge. So.
In the end, you can always find a way to turn a bad situation into something happier. When you take advantage of the opportunities given to you, you will find people like you and places you start to love. The first step is believing that you can make the best out of a situation, and the rest is, well, you can figure that out.